Hi, boys and girls. Miss Marie here, and welcome to Southdown Stories Online. I miss each and every one of you, and I am so excited to get to read to you one of my all-time favorite books, Rosie Revere, the Engineer, by Andrea Beaty, and illustrated by David Roberts. For those of you who know me, or if you're in my class, you know this is one of my all-time favorite books. It's about a little girl named Rosie who dreams of becoming a great engineer by creating gizmos and gadgets. Let's take a listen. Rosie Revere, Engineer. This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in the attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie's made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser and helium pants. The uncle she loved most was Zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep the snakes off his head, from parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps the pythons away. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud. But Fred slapped his knee and chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed and his eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. "I love it," Fred hooted. "Oh, truly I do." But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat back on her shelf, and after that day she kept her dreams to herself. And that's how it went until one autumn day her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of the things she had done, the goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile and looked to the sky. "The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk it one up to an old lady's dreams." That night Rosie laid wide-eyed in bed. A daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, "No, not I." The questions are tricky and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and the red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew how to make her aunt fly. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheese copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The Hello Cheese copter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled round and round. Then it froze for a heartbeat and crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned round to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, not ever again will I try to build something to sputter or spin, or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer." She turned round to leave, but her great-great-aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "You did it! Hooray! It's a perfect first try. This great flop is over. It's time for the next." Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. "I failed," said dear Rosie. "It's made of trash. Didn't you see the cheese copter crashed?" "Yes," her great aunt it said, "it crashed, that is true, but first it did what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that it flew." "Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and on to the next." She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt, and it all became clear. Life may have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. They worked till the sun sneaked away from its bed. Aunt Rose tied a headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear, to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 built gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they'd all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. The end. And if you like that story by Andrea Beaty, there's a bunch of other stories here that you could take a listen to on Epic through the library's website. What an awesome book that is, right? Rosie never gives up no matter what anyone says to her. She keeps on going and she never gives up until she realizes that she can be a great engineer. And I hope, boys and girls, the message of this story is that each and every one of you at home who's listening right now is an engineer, and you can build or create whatever you put your mind to. And I really hope that during this time apart at home, you can create and build wonderful things, whether you have an extra water bottle at home or a toilet paper roll or a tissue box. What can you build and what can you create to make something amazing? I cannot wait to see all the wonderful things you could do at home and create, just like we do at Southdown in our makerspace. So please share that with us at Southdown and send it to us. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time to join us for Southdown Stories Online, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye, everyone.